Hello and welcome back to our YouTube channel. Please remember to subscribe, like, comment and share. Our guest today is Ian Mbugua, who is a teacher, thespian and media personality. The discussion is hosted by Brother Collins, and our topic today is the dilemma of modern day relationships. This is Godly Dating and Relationships, where we believe God's way is the best. Welcome.
Is one of the amazing man. We have known him. We have known him. I know we have been seeing him in the television. Some of us know him as a judge in the TPF. I know several of us have known him in that area. Yeah, he's an amazing guy. And he's also he loved God. Yeah, and so tonight he's coming to share with us on this subject, the dilemma of modern day relationship. You know, in today's society where several people are confused in their relationship, you know, from the dating stage, choosing a life partner, and with so many things that are facing us as a young generation. We have social media, we have several things coming up. You know, we have nowadays there's lesbianism, there is gayism, there is a lot that is surrounding us, and all these are causing dilemma to our modern day relationship. Why are we all confused? Why don't we have a solution? People ask questions, several questions. Is it right to do this? Is it right to do this? Blah, blah, blah. So today, I hope that our expectations are going to be met, and through the help of the Holy Spirit, our guest is going to help us to handle our questions. So, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for one and only Ian Mbugua. Yes.
Asante sana.
Yes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Ian Mbugua, and I don't think any of you know much about me. Please do not confuse me with Judge Ian. Those are completely two different people. Judge Ian was a character in a reality show many years ago. The person talking to you is Ian Mbugua. He's a teacher of drama and music and performing arts at Brookhouse Schools. Okay. Now, this is a very interesting topic about the dilemma of modern day relationship. Now, I wish I had all the answers. I really do wish I had all the answers. I would bottle them and sell them and make a lot of money. I don't have the answers. In fact, I'm going to have quite a number of questions that I will ask you. And I hope at the end, you will be in a better position to ask the hard questions yourself, because you are the one who's really going to find a solution, a way to sort out this dilemma. Why are so many relationships not working out? You hear people have been married and within a couple of years, they are separated. Some have even started, one of them has left the home, and if it's really, really serious, one of them has started seeing somebody else. and one of them has gone to court and got a legal separation. And before long, that marriage is finished. Why is this? There are several reasons, and I'm just going to be touching on a few of them. And I will give a lot of time at the end for you to ask your questions, which I hope I will try and I'll try and answer somehow. Now, before, way back, marriages were arranged. The man and the woman did not know each other. This family decides so-and-so has got a daughter. They talk about it. The parents meet and they say, yes, your son, my daughter will get married. And they were set and the two got married. And there was no choice. Whether they wanted it or not, it happened. Sadly, it is still happening. Arranged marriages are still happening, but they're not as common today as they were before. Funnily enough, many of these so-called arranged marriages lasted for decades, and they only came to an end when one of them died. It was really till death do us part. And whether there was happiness in the family between the couple or not, that was irrelevant. You were to find out a way of living with this person, getting to know them as you go into your marriage. So there was no choice. But now people have a choice. And freedom and choice are not always good things because they always come with consequences. Now, why do people get into relationships? First of all, is it because other people are doing it? Or is it because you need a companion? And then with the social media, you will probably meet online. And that is not a really, really, really good place to meet somebody and get to know them. You meet online, you start chatting, you exchange numbers, then there's the WhatsApp, and then you finally hook up. And before long, you're already either moving in together or deciding to get married without really getting to know that person. So one of the things that happens is we rush into these things without knowing ourselves first, what we want, and what our expectations are of the other person. You may think that you know somebody because you've spent so much time chatting with them online, but you don't. The person you're chatting with is not the real person you're going to get married to or you're going to hook up with. It's not necessarily that way. Social media, you are able to hide. You can become absolutely anything you want. Even your photos, you touch them up and make yourself look so glamorous. So by the time the person is meeting you, they look at you and they look at they think of the photos they've been seeing on social media and they wonder whether that is one and the same person. No wonder a pastor recently said that a man must see the woman he's going to get married without makeup before they get married. Because sometimes they remove all that makeup and then you realize, guy, is this what you look like for real? And by then, it's a bit too late. So one thing that happens is that there's a rush into marriage or rush into relationship without really getting to know the person properly. Back in the days, we spent a lot of time physical, going on dates, going to the movies, going to town, going to the park, sitting down. You know Uhuru Park, where the boats are? You have a picnic, you get into the boat, and you spend time to get to know this person. It was, and there wasn't that, you weren't seeing somebody all the time. You were probably communicating with them once a week or once in 2 weeks. There were no cell phones. There were phone booths where you had to go and put in coins and talk to somebody. And not all houses had phones. So you'd arrange a time, you know the phone booth near the place where she stays, and she'll be there, and you'll call, and you'll talk for probably 2 or 3 minutes, and that would be it. So by the time you're getting to know the person, you're meeting physically, you're really learning what this person is. But today, because of social media, you think you know this person so well, and you are ready to get married to this person. And you rush into it. You rush into a relationship, which in many cases ends up with a girl getting pregnant and deciding, wow, I'm pregnant, let's get married. Number one, getting pregnant is not a reason to get married. Please never get married because you got pregnant. This is for the girls. And for the guys, because you made her pregnant, you're marrying her. No. That is not a good enough reason to get married. They're in no particular order. I just wrote them down and I'll just go through them. Lack of proper premarital counseling. That is very, very important. You need to go to a pastor and you need to spend as much as 3 months meeting with the pastor once a week for 3 months before you get married. And during this premarital counseling, if it's a really good pastor, he will make you answer very difficult questions. And there are questions about finances, what your plans are, about sex, about the number of children you want, about the kind of jobs you want, about the roles that you expect each of you to take part in. So lack of proper marital counseling is another issue. People marry because they're expected to. I know these days people are getting married much, much later, in their 30s and 40s. Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes that's not a very good thing. Before, by the time a lady was 18, 16, 17, 18, 19, she was married. And those are the marriages that lasted. You know, our grandfathers, our great-grandfathers. And those marriages lasted forever. And even there was polygamy, but there was nothing like divorce. You would never hear a woman walking away from the home, because then there was nothing, that was not one of the options. And that's why I said choices. Now with freedom and choices, there has to be consequences. And sometimes we're not ready for them. So, okay, that's another one. And people go into marriage thinking that it'll be a bed of roses, and thinking about the scent of the roses and not remembering that there are thorns. If you get married in a church ceremony, you will say your vows And one of the ones you will say is for better, for worse. But many people go just thinking about the better. So when a problem comes up, a challenge comes up, they are not ready to deal with the real issues, and they just decide, no, this is not working, this is not what I had in mind, and I have the option of walking out. So they walk out. Divorce is not part of God's plan. Divorce is not part of a marriage. It is till death do you part. In fact, the only time I ask, especially ladies, to walk out of a marriage is if there is violence. Where there is domestic violence, that one I just say, please, walk away. God will understand. If there is domestic violence, do not stay. Get out. Anything else, you can work them out through communication. That's another thing. People do not know how to communicate. They don't know how to communicate and sort out problems when they come. So you've agreed to get married, you want to rush it, and you want this huge wedding, a wedding that will be captured by the media, it'll be in the papers, it'll be the wedding of the year. A lot of money will be spent. You will do fundraising for your wedding so that you can have the best gown and everybody can be smart and you can have your reception in a huge place with lovely food. A wedding is not the marriage. The marriage is more important. In fact, this is the best time to be getting married. When you have 15, no, now, okay, the government has increased it to 100. But this is the best time. Have a small wedding and save on that. Because now people think about getting a very big marriage, a big wedding, and they think that that is what will impress people. No. Many of these so-called marriages that huge do not last. And there's so much in the papers. We've got just last week an article about 10 celebrity weddings which have broken up. That is now the news. People are celebrating such. It is sad. It is sad, sad, sad. If you're getting married, you should be in it for the long haul, till death do you part, or till the domestic violence comes in. And lack of commitment. And most of the time, the issue of commitment is the men. The men are the ones who are not ready to commit. They have their reasons why. And I hope all the men I can see here, Mark, Washira, Paul, Kibet, I hope you will have reasons why you have problems committing. And then you've got your unrealistic expectations, because sometimes you watch too many movies and they lived happily ever after. You get married, you go on your honeymoon, and within a couple of months, everything is going up, everything is beautiful. And then reality checks in, and you start learning about each other. If both of you are faking it, which happens a lot, you never knew that he drank so much. You didn't know that she looks like this without her makeup. You thought that he had money, that he had a really good job. He comes from a good family, only to realize that was just a facade. You're now getting to know the real person. And it just gets too much. And you realize, I didn't know you. Who are you? And then what option do you have? You think, hey, this is not what I bargained for. I'm out of here. Some go into prenups where you have an agreement, especially if the man is rich, that if this happens, you will get this. If this happens, we will divorce, and this is all that you will have. And that's it. Prenups. Already you're planning to break up if you're having a prenup. You're not in it for the long haul. Sex is another thing. Unrealistic expectations about sex. You really should talk about sex, and this is one of the things that is supposed to be done during the premarital counseling. What your expectations are when it comes to sex. And then you have no patience to work things out. There is absolutely no marriage that has got no problems. But if both of you decide to sit down and work it out properly, between the two of you, don't start going to talk about your spouse to somebody else and tell them what the problem is, unless you are going to a trained marriage counselor and you're having sessions to try and work things out. But don't go to your friends, especially ladies who go and talk about their men to their girlfriends. And probably these are girlfriends who have no commitment. You don't know whether they are jealous about your relationship. And they'll tell you, that is what he did. Me, if it was me, I'm out. I can get out. I don't need him. The men just decide, no, this woman is nagging me too much. I'll just go hang out with the boys. And it becomes very, very often one night, then the next night, coming in late. And you're spending a lot more time outside than you are in your own home. Okay. Then women knowing their rights. That's another big issue. Women have become empowered. They earn just as much, probably more, sometimes more than the man. And so they think that because they're the ones who are bringing in the bacon, that they should not be submissive. No matter how much you are earning as a woman, you must be submissive to your husband. The husband is, the man is the head of that family, whether he's bringing in the money or not. But these are things that you need to work out. The man needs to be respected. The woman needs to be loved. That is not from me, that is from the Bible. Respect is very important for a man. And once a woman starts disrespecting the man, then that's it. Things are not going to work out. And this is communication. You must learn to communicate and deal with issues properly. Money is another issue, yes. Before it was expected that the man was the one who was providing. That is, even now the man is supposed to provide, but that is not always the case. There are times when the man loses the job and the woman is now the one who's bringing in the money. It's very discouraging for a man, yes, but that should not break you up. That should not make the woman now think, because I'm the one with the money, that the man is useless. No. There are ways of working that out. And I hope you have loads of questions. I'm just touching bits and pieces of this. The other thing is not knowing where to turn to for help. You must learn where to go for help when you have issues that you cannot deal between the two of you. Then there is family history. You think because your parents' marriage failed and your brothers and sisters failed or something like that, that yours is bound to fail. No, that is not the case. There are some chains that can be broken. There's some curses that can be stopped. Doesn't mean because your parents' marriage failed that yours is bound to fail. You come from a family where most marriages don't work out. So when yours doesn't work out, people will say, ah, that was expected. I mean, after all, the parents are like this, back the other. And quitting too easily. Quitting too easily. Now, I will end with this before I take up questions. The reasons why relationships end, and these are in no particular order. There is infidelity, money problems, addictions, lack of support from the family, health reasons, domestic violence, substance abuse, too much conflict and arguing, lack of commitment, different priorities, marriage for the wrong reasons, and lack of or too much expectations. Now, I will open it up for questions. I don't know how you want to do this, Collins, whether you want many questions at a time or just one. Back to you first, Collins.
Thank you so much, Ian, for such amazing sharing. You have mentioned several things that bring dilemma to modern days relationship compared to the olden days when the relationships or marriage were just arranged or planned on. We will take
Oh boy. Hello.
We should talk about sex.
Okay, we've lost Collins. Collins, are you still there? Mama. Sorry, you're muted. You're muted, Collins.
Okay, sorry for that.
No, it happens. It's, yeah.
It was network. So I was asking about the question on sex. Currently, you realize that people who...
Sorry, you're breaking up.
Oh, I'm still... Can you hear me well now?
Now I can hear you.
Okay. Now my question was, a lot of people who date nowadays, they fall into temptations of having sex even before marriage.
Yes.
You know, and this is a big dilemma, and we have seen many people get pregnant. We have seen there are several even single mothers in the church nowadays. And now, and people ask, you know, what else can we do in a relationship apart from sex? We see men who get into a relationship with ladies, and the thing they demand or approve of love is sex. If you can't give me sex, then they say that's not you don't love me, you know. Some says that, of course, we have dated for 2 years. We have trusted each other. Why can't we just have sex now? Because we will get married. And yet they are still in a dating stage. A lot of students cohabit even in campus nowadays. Maybe because of 1-2 reasons. Some say we are sharing cost of the rent. Some say different, you know, things. You know, and this is a biggest dilemma. I have handled so many cases about people having sex, and of course, which lead to people now doing abortions, you know, and it's we Christians, you know, this thing is in the Christian. So my question is, how do we deal with the issue in a relationship? You know, how long should we say that somebody should stay in a relationship, or rather, what should people be talking about? Because people are confused. Like, what do we talk about in a relationship apart from sex? People send nude pictures, people sex text, you know, and all these things lead to sex. So what's your take about sex in a relationship, you know?
Right. That's what I said about having choices. Freedom gives you choices, and choices have consequences. Now, if you get yourself into a situation where the two of you are alone in a room, you're human. You're human. The urge is going to be there. So the best thing is to avoid being alone with this person. Avoid it as much as possible. And you need to find other things. If you're going out on a date, go to the movies. Nothing will happen there. Go to the park. Go out amongst other people. And avoid being alone, just the two of you. If you avoid that, then most likely you will not fall into the trap of going too far. But it's a personal choice. And you've got to decide that I'm not going to do this. Especially the girls. You can't decide, I'm not going to give in. If he is insisting on sex to prove that you love him, then he is not the one for you. That's what I can tell you. And believe me, if you trust God and you completely trust God, he will keep that one for you. The one he kept for you. That one. So avoid being alone with him. If you have to go somewhere, make sure there's somebody else. And guys, it's the same thing. Even Jesus was tempted. Temptation will always be there. You're alone with this very hot chick. And you stop thinking with your head. So you need to find other ways and other places of having your date. There's so many options. Why do you want to stay in one room, just the two of you, when you know what's going to happen? Self-discipline. That's what I would say. Self-discipline. Yes. Collins, back to you.
Thank you so much. Self-discipline is important. And I've seen somebody, Ishimwe Alain, is raising the hand. Do you have a question to ask? You can unmute and then ask.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
So yes, I was actually invited here by a very good friend. His name is Dennis. So I really love what you've said, Mr. Ian Mbugua, for what you've actually been able to
Just call me Ian. Just call me Ian. Ian, simple. Let's keep it simple.
All right.
Ian.
Noted, sir.
Oh gosh, then he adds this. It's okay. Go ahead. Go ahead, Brian.
So my name is Ishimwe Alain, and there's one thing, because I really love working with youth, and this is a topic that we usually have a conversation on. And for me, I use my life experience, my story as the baseline of exactly what happens. So the thing is that I want to ask is, what happens to the roots and the values that someone holds? Because, quote unquote, yes, we have to make a personal choice, because everyone eventually is having to make a personal choice that for tomorrow makes them who they are. But what happens to the values that we had before growing up compared to the values that the kids of nowadays have? I am mainly either taken care of by a maid or a help or someone, and my parents do not actually teach me these values. Or I do not have time to have a conversation with my dad about what a man is supposed to be, or a lady, to talk to the mom what a lady is supposed to be. I get to find that for my friends. So what is the basis advice that you could give someone to tell them how to go back to their roots, how to go back to their values? Because when you mentioned about marriages going back, marriages were arranged before. Yes, they were arranged because parents had an agenda of this family and this family should merge together, because yes, we believe these are the two that should actually get together so that we can have peace, or maybe with the two clans, or either because if we merge into this family, then we know there's a financial freedom. But you see, now we marry basis on love and friendship. So how can you be able to tell someone that they need to understand that friendship comes first, then building each other comes next, then conversations of marriage come after? Because when you get into marriage, it's not all about sex, as you said. It's about building each other for a greater purpose that you both put together. So how do you take that?
Okay, you raised a number of very good things about how the family used to bring up somebody. We still have groups of ladies who will talk to girls and tell them. In fact, there was one who said that she talks to girls. That is still going on. Sadly, it does not go on as much for the men. The men are supposed to sort themselves out, which is so sad, because most of the times you will find a man who is completely clueless, and he doesn't even know where to go, because and I have nothing against single moms, absolutely nothing against them. He probably was raised by, as you said, a single mom and a maid. There was really no man figure, father figure in his life. So he doesn't know where to turn to for help. But there are groups like Man Enough, which are teaching men the values of being a man. And then these men are also going out and talking to the boys and telling them, just, you have freedom, yes, but what you do with that freedom can have an effect on your future. So you always need to ask yourself, if I do this, what's going to happen? If I do this, what's going to happen? Or what are the consequences? So it's really a question of you deciding, if I choose this path, what is likely to happen? And if you see, it's just like standing at the edge of a cliff, and you think that if I jump, I might be able to fly or not. You really can't. It's not a question of whether you're going to fly or not. If you jump, most likely you're going to die. If not, you're going to break bones and might be paralyzed for life. So you need to keep asking yourself, if I do this, what are the possible results? And do I really want to go into that? And then finding a father figure, somebody who you can go and talk to about issues you're having. I hope I have answered your question, Ishimwe.
Yes, sir, you've been able to give some insight. Thank you.
Now, I see there are questions here on the group. Let me see. Consequences should one consider before getting, yes. You need, before you go into a relationship, you need to understand why you are going into a relationship. Now, just because she's really beautiful is not good enough. You want to be seen with her because she's beautiful and she dresses well, she talks well, she sings well, she's very friendly. That's not good enough for you, reason for you to get into a relationship. He drives a car, he's got a good job. That's not good enough. You need to understand what you are looking for in that relationship. Are you looking for a soulmate? Are you looking for somebody who will be there? Is this the sort of person you want to spend the rest of your life with? Do you know this person well enough? Is this the person you want to get to know much better? Or is this the person you just want to hang about with just for a year or two and then that's it? So you're really just killing time. You really need to know what you want when you are getting into a relationship. Another question here from Spencer. Is it right for a man to date a lady younger than his age and vice versa? Well, most men should or do date ladies younger than themselves. One reason why we date ladies younger than ourselves, ladies mature faster than boys. Girls mature faster than boys, and they live longer. Ladies live longer, generally. Age should not be so much of a problem as long as you have things that you can talk about, things that you have in common. But if the gap is so big that you have absolutely nothing in common, then that relationship is more likely to end up breaking because you don't have things in common. You must find things that you share. If you don't share things, only sex, the sex is not always going to be that good. You will start off having sex every single day once you get married. Then it'll go to once a week and once a month. Before long, it's become boring, and then you think, maybe it's her, it's tiring. So you end up going out, and that's it. Because the only thing you had together was the sex. But you must find other things that keep you together. So age shouldn't be too much of an issue, provided you have things in common. Now, if it's a much older lady with a much younger man, are you ready to face the public, the criticism? Are you ready to face friends? Because friends can also break up your relationship. What are you doing with this old woman when there are young ones here? So age should not be too much of an issue if you have things in common. Things that both of you can relate to. All right, back to you, Collins.
All
Oh,
right.
sorry, I've just seen another one. Sorry, Collins. Is it right for one to go back and date their ex? Sometimes it is okay. You can be with somebody and something happens and you break up and you move to somebody else. And then you realize that breaking up was a mistake. You broke up for the wrong reasons. And you both feel that way. I now understand you better than I did before. And I want to make this work. Yes. If you can do that, then yes. Sorry, Collins, back to you. I don't see any other question there. Back to you, Collins.
All right. Thank you so much, Ian, for such an insight. I have seen Kemunto's hands up. Please, can you unmute and ask a question? All right. She says sorry for that. I also saw Mercy's hand up. Did you have a question? All right, then let me allow my co-host, that is Prayer Major, to ask the question. Yes, Prayer Major, welcome.
Thank you. So I have a question. While you were talking, you said that unrealistic expectations always brings problem in relationships. So what are some of these unrealistic expectations? And when getting into a relationship with someone, when exactly should you discuss these expectations? Yes.
Well, the expectations, once you're courting, once you're dating, you should know what your expectations are. If you're a lady, you should be able to ask a man, usual questions. Where do you see yourself in 5, 10 years' time? These are expectations. You should know what a man is thinking about. Right now, he may be a broke ass, but that doesn't mean he's going to be a broke ass forever. You can see that he's got something. He's got a drive. He's got passion. He wants to climb up the ladder gradually, in a nice way, not the corrupt way, which is very prevalent. You know that this is a person who's got a lot of promise and is going to work and keep getting promoted or start off his own business. Now, expectations, if you have a good marriage counselor, you will be grilled on that because you will be asked difficult questions. And these are the same ones, but it's an outsider now asking. And you're able to see what kind of man he is and what his dreams are for the future. But if you are thinking that because so-and-so got married 2 years ago and they already have their own house, she's driving a good car, and you expect that that is what's going to happen to you, those are unrealistic expectations. So you need to think about things that are possible. You grow with each other. You start off in a 1-bedroom house, and then you move on to 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms. The kids come and you start growing slowly by slowly. And each time you are raising the bar each time with your expectations. That by even sitting down and writing down goals. This is our 5-year goal, 10-year goal, 15-year goal. Write them out if you need to. And you're working as a team together. So it's not him doing it on his own. It is you and him, because the two of you have become one. So what will your part be in helping your man realize that 5-year plan, 10-year plan, 15-year plan, and so on. But these are things that you should have discussed even before getting married. You must have some clue about the kind of man you are getting married to. Because if you think, if you see, he doesn't even have goals, he's got no aims, he's just living from day to day, then you better start thinking differently. Okay, Prayer Major?
Yeah, thank you.
You have to have everything. Okay, there's a question here. Do you have to have everything in common to have a successful relationship? No, 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 no. Opposites attract. Opposites attract. There are some things that you will not have in common, and they will be things that you will argue about, debate about. And these are things that will draw you closer to each other. If you have the same things in common all the time, that can be so boring. It'll be too boring. You do need to have things that in common, yes, but you also have to have things that you can't do that he does or he loves, but you take an interest in it. He could love music. He could be a very good musician, and you can't. But that is one way of getting to know him better and getting to understand him even better. And you can have differences. Differences will always be there, but it's not necessary that you always have to have everything in common for you to have a successful relationship. There's another one from Rita. Is it right to date someone who was once gay? Now, when it comes to this question of sexual orientation, it's a very tricky thing. Number one, you need to understand God loves gay people. God loves lesbians the same way he loves corrupt people, the same way he loves murderers and thieves. He hates the sin. That's what you need to remember. So if someone was once gay and has repented and changed their way and they're now straight, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I don't think there is. Are you God? No, you're not. So being homophobic, hating gay people and lesbians, I believe that is really, really wrong. Just because they sin differently from you doesn't mean you are better than they are. And that is why Jesus said, let he that is without sin cast the first stone. If you are completely sinless, then please, by all means, you have a right to hate gay people and lesbians. Yeah. All right, there's another one here. How can one spice up a relationship? Sometime back, there was a debate I saw on TV that Kenyan men are not romantic. Oh, okay. Hey, you can still go on dates. Just because you're married doesn't mean you can't go out together to a restaurant. Leave somebody looking after the kids and go out to a restaurant, have a meal. Go out to a concert, go out to theater, go out to a friend's place. Spend more time together. Find quality time, because that's another thing that, that spoils relationships. Not spending enough time with each other. Being too busy working. You must find quality time to spend together, just the two of you. Even if it's at home when the kids have gone off, just sitting and chatting, watching a movie together, going on evening walks, jogging together. Find things that you can do together. Okay, I'm just scrolling. I don't see any other. Okay, back to you, Collins.
All right, thank you so much, Ian. Another dilemma maybe is about the issue of money in modern days relationship. Money has become a big problem where most of the ladies, you know, they want men who are rich. We have seen the coming up of the sponsors. You know, nowadays our ladies spend much, you know, they go for sponsors and they leave us, you know, young men who are in campus and even in churches, you know.
Hustlers.
Yeah, hustlers. So they go for older men. Yeah. Now my question is, how can we solve this dilemma of money? Like they see us like we will not make it. They want what is right now. They don't see us like making it in the future to have it. You know, they want just something right now at hand. And that has caused many men, you know, to see, you have now seen a lot of men who even, you know, masturbate because they can't afford having girlfriend or because of what the expectations of girls are. Men prefer to masturbate because it's free, you know, they can do it the way they want because they see how women are expensive. We also see many men who does crazy things. They don't get married. They wait until they have everything together so that they get married. You know, what's your take on this about the issue of money in today's relationship?
In today's world, we're too materialistic, and we don't want to work for so long before getting things. We want quick things now. That's why we've got microwave and we've got microwave dinners. We want to be able to get things done and get things done immediately. We are very, very impatient. So this get rich quick mentality is there. And that is what the rich men are using to bring in, to lure the college going girls, because they know once I flash my money, they will come to me, and all I want from them is sex. And all they want from me is money. But there are, once again, I'll come back to choices have consequences. How many stories have we heard of girls, university girls being killed? How many? What makes you think that you are not going to be one? It's not going to happen to you like that. How many STDs are there? How many girls have ended up getting STDs or getting pregnant? Choices have consequences. It's really up to you. If you want to go with a sponsor and you know the consequences, that is entirely up to you. But you know the risk you're getting into, and whether you will end up being as successful as you had planned to, or you'll end up being a slay queen. That is, nobody knows that. But what value do you have about yourself? Self-esteem, where is your self-esteem? Is it really true that you can't make it on your own? Why are you in university then? Why are you wasting time? You can. Does it mean there's no lady who's made it out there entirely on her own? Of course there are. Of course there are. So what value are you putting to yourself? Where's your self-respect? These are questions you need to be asking yourself. And then once you've asked those questions and you decide on which way to go, sorry, the only person who will judge you is God. We are not going to judge you. At least I'm not going to judge you. But when you stand in front of him and he tells you, I gave you a brain, and you still went and did this, why? Why? So it is entirely up to you. Back to you.
Wow. Thank you thank you for that. That's amazing. Let me allow Jackson Mangi to ask a question. I see his hand is up. Yes, Jackson.
Thank you, Collins, for the opportunity. So, Mr. Ian,
sorry, you're breaking up. You're breaking up.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
I'm saying that there has been a very emotive discussion on social media,
right,
about the position of a man and a woman in a relationship.
Right.
There was this discussion that a man naturally should be the provider, which is so obvious. So, and this celebrity was saying that she cannot allow her daughter to get married to a broke man.
Right.
So,
yes.
So I'm just curious. So what should a woman bring into a relationship? What should she bring to the table? Thank you.
This is a partnership. It really is a partnership. And that is why God said the two will become one. But God also said that the man is the head. And traditionally, the man should provide. But like we have seen, this is not always the case. We've got women who are earning a lot more. So both of you, whatever money you are both making belongs to both of you. You are building up this home together. The two of you are one. Even the duties that are being done in the house. We've got men who say that they can't change diapers, they can't do dishes, they can't cook. It's not right for a man to do that. Sorry, but that is rubbish. You are in a partnership. You help out wherever you can, even if it means that it is you who's taking out the garbage. It is you who's doing that. She does the cooking, you do the dishes. It is okay for a man to help out in the home. It's not just all the work is the woman who's doing it. She's the one cooking, she's the one doing the dishes, she's the one looking after the children. You as a man also need to play your part in the house whenever possible. So you are both bringing in whatever is needed into that partnership for you to grow as a family. Whether it's both of you bringing in the money or both of you doing the work, you are both bringing in whatever you can. So there are no duties that are just for the men or duties for the woman. And women who say that they can't let their daughters get married to poor people, sorry, those are the ones who are really misleading. And those are the ones who are encouraging the girls to look for sponsors. That's what I would say, which is wrong. Choices have consequences.
Wow. Thank you so much. That indeed relationship is a partnership, and people come together to partner, not one person to do something and the other not to do. I thank you that for Ian. And on the same case, we have seen now a group of course of rising ladies who say that they are boss ladies. They call themselves boss ladies. And so they empower ladies, some negatively, like it's not a must you know how to cook. It's not a must you know how to to do all the house chores, and you can just still have a nanny coming in and doing all those things. And I think that is the biggest dilemma, one of the biggest dilemma, because you realize that you get a girlfriend who cannot cook, who cannot wash clothes, who cannot do anything. He just wants even cooking. What he knows is only to boil water. What is your advice to the ladies inside the room? So that they don't say that we don't need to know how to cook, because you are not marrying a cook. You are not marrying somebody, who wash your clothes. You're not marrying somebody who does ABCD, What's your advice to our ladies? Yeah.
It is true. You don't need to know how to cook, because you can employ somebody to do that. And there are some people who get married, there are ladies who get married to men who love cooking. So the man does the cooking. I have a friend who, she's now in the US. She got married to a white man, and they came here for their honeymoon. And when they came here, he loves cooking. So they came here, and the family got together in a flat that they were staying for the honeymoon bit. So the family came together, her family, and the man, when he came to, they came in, blah, 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 and the man went straight to the kitchen and started cooking while the girl talked to her family. And the family was scandalized. They were wondering, what are you doing here? And he's in the kitchen. And they were wondering, what is going on? And, he loves cooking. So she just told them, I don't enjoy cooking, and he loves cooking. So I've allowed him to cook, and I'm here entertaining you. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. You not being able to cook, you not being able to do things, cook very well, because I'm sure everybody can cook. But to have really lovely, to prepare lovely dishes, it's not a must. And it's not a woman's place in the kitchen. The best chefs in the world are men. Men are the best chefs. So for you to say that a woman's place is in the kitchen is wrong. A woman's place is wherever she is comfortable. A man's place is wherever he is comfortable. If he wants to be in the kitchen, let him. These are things you find out as you're dating. You find out he doesn't like this, she doesn't like that. So what are we going to do about it? But if you're going in blank and you realize, then you both sit down. Who's cooking? I thought you were going to cook. I thought you were going to, let's eat out all the time. No, 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 no. Work together. Find out what you both are good at and complement each other. Complement each other. You don't like doing this, I will do it. I don't like doing this. We both don't like doing this. We'll get somebody to come and do it. Yes.
Right. Thank you for that. That if a man's place is where he's comfortable, and of course the same to a woman. But if a man loves cooking, let him do that. I think there's a generation who are a bit confused maybe on the roles, mostly to know where is the role of a man and where is the role of a woman, because you find out that sometimes man maybe does not have a job and a woman is the one working, and so the balance in between become a problem. And also, Ian, there's a big question about on today's generation whereby people have crush. Yeah, you realize that somebody wakes up one day and you meet somebody and then they call them crush. They crush to one another. And I think people keep these people long in their heart. They want to meet their crushes. Is it right for someone to have a crush? Is it good? And how should someone deal with the issues of crush? Yeah.
Having a crush on somebody, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But most of the times, this crush, this person you really like, is somebody you would rather just have a crush on. Because when you do meet them and you get to know them, then you realize, hiya, why did I have a crush on you? So there's nothing wrong with that. But having a crush on somebody, it's better if that person just stays as your crush. You don't even meet them. Maybe you might see them on social media. It could be a movie star, but an actor, a musician, but you have a crush on. But it's just harmless. It's infatuation. That is not love. Most of the time you have a crush on somebody, you will not love them. That is not somebody you will have a nice, long-lasting relationship with, because you had a crush like that because of various reasons. Maybe how they look, maybe how they talk, maybe how they sing, maybe how they act. But that is not enough for you to know that this is the person you would like to have a relationship with. Having a crush on somebody, being infatuated by somebody, there's nothing wrong with that. But just keep it as that, just a crush. You can even tell them, I have a crush on you. Or later on tell them, I had a crush on you. But as time goes by and you find out more about this person, you move them from a pedestal where you had put them and you bring them down to earth, and you just realize they're just like you. So having a crush on somebody, that's fine. But don't think that that will lead into a relationship, into a long relationship with them. No, unlikely.
Wow. Thank you so much. Allow me to welcome my co-host, Prayer Major, to ask the last question, and then we'll have Ian, you after answering the question, and then you will have your parting shots. Yeah.
Thank you, Collins. So, for example, in a situation where you are relating with a guy, then one day, all of a sudden, he cuts off communication with you. He starts ignoring you. Then after like 4 months, he shows up and starts explaining how he's so sorry. He was undergoing challenges, like things were going wrong. Should you really go back to that guy, or should you put a lot of question marks?
The number of times I've heard that story, oh, it happens a lot. It happens a lot. And I get asked this question a number of times. And what I say to the girl is, even you, don't communicate with him. And I tell them, within 2 weeks, he will get in touch with you. And most likely, he will try and explain what was going through, what was happening. Now, if that happens once, and you then tell him that what he did was wrong, that if he had a problem, he needed to talk to you, even if it was about you. And if that should happen again, then you know that that's not going to be a relationship that will work out. This is lack of communication. And also men like to feel like they're being chased. So I will keep quiet because I know within a few days, she'll be there texting me all the time, and I will ignore her, and she will keep texting me. Lack of communication. Give him one chance. Let that happen once, and then tell him this was wrong because this is a lack of communication. I'm not a mind reader. You are going through something. Yes. How was I supposed to know? I was supposed to read your mind. If you want this thing to work out, I don't care what the problem is, you need to be able to talk to me and let me know. Even if it means that I just need time to work this out. How are you working it out? Meaning you're going to talk to somebody else and not me. So even when we have problems, you will go to talk to somebody else, which is wrong. Give him one chance. Then after that, you just know it's time to move on because that relationship is not going to work. Sadly, I tell them that, the girls that, but they keep on and on. Sometimes they end up in a relationship with this person. Within a very short time, we're chatting again and I ask, how is it? Oh, we broke up. I don't say, but inside I say, I'm not surprised. But I don't say it out loud. But I'm not surprised. That's my take on that.
Thank you.
My parting shots. Really having a relationship, a lasting relationship is possible, but you must be going into it with the right reason and the right frame of mind. You must know yourself well enough, and you must get to know your partner well enough. And it must be something that both of you want for the long haul, till death do you part. But if you're doing it knowing that if it doesn't work out after a couple of years or a year or two, you can always opt out and go somewhere else, then why are you wasting your time? Why are you wasting the other person's time? Go in it so that you are in it for the long haul. But don't waste somebody's time, and don't waste your time getting into a relationship that will not last. If it's the sex only, then that will not last. It will not last. If it's money, anything could happen, and he could lose his job. She could lose her job, and you have to move from that apartment you were living in Kileleshwa and move somewhere where you came from, to Eastlands or wherever, really moving down. If that is the case, no. For better, for worse, as long as you are together, whether you are in a Rolls Royce or riding on a bicycle, and the two of you are happy together, then you can make the relationship work. You must also fight to keep your relationship. You must be able to fight for each other, understanding, work out everything that you can to stay together. But if there is violence and it's there a lot, get out. Domestic violence, no. That's a no-no for me. Anything else you can work out. Money problems you can work out. Even infidelity you can work it out. You can work it if both of you want to work it out. Quick fixes, forget it. And finally, not everybody is supposed to be in a relationship. If you are happy alone, then stay alone. Even the Bible says so. Not everybody is supposed to get married. Not everybody is supposed to be in a relationship. If you feel that you are not supposed to be in a relationship and you feel people are forcing you to be in a relationship, so you have to get into a relationship, no. Stick to your guns, because it's not going to work out. You're doing it for the wrong reason. You're doing it because you are expected to, not because you want to. Being in a relationship is hard work, but it pays. It pays dividends. And once you agree, it gets easier as you go along because you're able to sort out problems as they come along. Anything, any hurdle, you will jump it together. But if you are already thinking of quits, when a short problem comes in, then maybe a relationship isn't the thing for you. Those are my parting words.
Wow. What an amazing wisdom you have shared with us, Ian. Thank you so much for finding your time and just coming to help us handle different questions that we battle with today's generation. Thank you so much. I have really enjoyed the discussions. I've learned a lot personally, and I really appreciate that. And I know that our expectations have been met, and everyone, at least you have got something to take at home. And before Ian leaves, I will request Ian to just say a word of prayer. I know people struggling here with different issues, that the Lord may help us. So, yes, Ian.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for who you are, first of all, Lord. And who you are is somebody who made us just like you. Somebody who loves us just the way we are. And somebody who put us on this earth for a purpose. Each and every one of us has a right to be on this earth. And you have plans for us, Lord. And you always say that they are good plans. Thank you for these young people who are thinking about this question of the dilemma of relationships. Just the fact that they're thinking about it tells me that they are in a position that they want to be in a relationship and they want to work it out. I may not have all the answers. The person who has all the answers is you. I pray that they will turn to you for proper guidance. Because unless you build a home with them, as you say, the laborers work in vain. And you should be a big part in everybody's relationship. I pray for them, Lord, in their studies and in their friendships, that you may look after them and always be there for you. Let them turn to you whenever they need you. Let them know where they can get help, and help comes from you. And thank you for this forum. And I just pray that it may help, even if it's just one person, that they may think about all the things that we've discussed, and they may think about the choices they make. Always think about the consequences, because every choice has a consequence. Let them ask, if I do this, what are the possible results? If this happens, am I ready to face it? Is this something that I want to? I just commit each and every one of them to you, Lord. And let's finish with the words of the grace. The grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us now and evermore.
Amen.
And I'm available. I'm on social media. If you want to ask me questions, you want me to help you out, find me on social media.
Wow. Thank you so much. Yes, let's follow Ian. Is available. I confirm that. And Ian Mbugua on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Yeah.